I tried to do this video earlier on well, 2 days ago on my phone, um, but my audio is kind of wonky. So hopefully, I'm doing it on the laptop. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit better. So I've been listening to the song "The Grudge" a lot. It's probably one of my favorites recently, by Tool, and I thought I'd come and give a lyrical analysis of the song. I think we can all agree this song is definitely about constipation. No, that might be an aspect in it, but I've heard some lyrical analysis videos or music analysis videos. I'm not going to do the whole song in here. I'm just going to do the lyrics. The song, like, it's so good in its format and the all the intentional sounds they put in their proper place, like, beautiful. But the lyrics, I've heard people talking about the planet Saturn because it says Saturn in here. I don't know what's behind all that and if it's some, weird thing, but to me it's clearly about Saturn. So the animating force, the spirit in us that is symbolized by the Saturn of mythology, the individual. So, um, it's something that can kind of grip us all. If it's a masculine energy, um, or spirit, and it's not spirit is energy, but spirit is wind or breath or speech, and that energy propagates certain ways of speaking and using your reasoning and verbal acuity. And it's a nice word, but probably not the right one I was looking for. Um, so Saturn in Roman mythology consumed all of his children. He was the small g god of agriculture and judgment, maybe, or something like that. And he was totalitarian, like kind of like tyrannical in his control and wanting things to be his way, um, and keeping order and structure according to his will. And he ends up consuming all of his children. Um, and his wife was afraid that he was going to consume the next one, so she gave him a stone. And he ate, and it was in swaddling cloths and children's clothes or whatever. And he eats it and ends up, it purges out all of the children. He comes off of his high horse and he falls from authority, and it reigns in the golden era where instead of everything being burdensome and like um and fearful and stuff, it's a time of plenty, a time of everything coming back into you know a, a productive era. So let's go through the lyrics here. Wear the grudge like a crown of negativity. Calculate what we will not tolerate. Desperate to control all and everything. Unable to forgive your scarlet lettermen. So, wear the grudge like a crown of negativity. Um, so, when you're holding on to your anger and resentment, um, and you start to see the most cynical side of things, and everything that could go wrong. Um, Calculate what we will or will not tolerate. So it's like, you know what? In my order, you can do this and you can't do that, and you will obey me, um, or it's my way or the highway. Obey me or get away from me, or I'll consume you. Whether that's like being chewed out. Have you ever been chewed out by someone who just is you know all about control? Um, will not tolerate. Desperate to control. all and everything. So it's like, everything needs to be exactly how I want it to be. Um, in order for, so if I can feel secure or powerful or dominant or whatever it is, and unable to forgive your scarlet letterman. So a scarlet letterman, from what I understand, is someone who's unfaithful. Um, so if you're holding a grudge against someone who has been unfaithful to you, it's going to spill out into your every action. For women, it's the animating force. It's a masculine force, so it's anima, anima possession in Jungian psychology, where the masculine dominant force uh, gets riled up in the woman, and she has this control. And for guys, it's the same energy, um, but it's there's like a counterpart to that, the animus, I think, and I might be switching those two, where it's the feminine quality, the weak submissive, like not even. So yeah, it's sounding terrible, but it's the overly like victim and scared, like in a the coward for men. It's like almost cowardice, um, and stuff like that. It's the negative traits of the male and female, to their extreme, to a possessing nature. Um, there is proper power and will and assertion in in both men and females, and there is proper discernment and, I use the word paranoia, but vigilance, watchfulness, you know, a wisdom that preserves in males and females too. Um, so it's kind of like there's a double-sided effect to it, and like there's always a good reason for every to the person who's having the emotion, they have a justifiable reason. So anyway, that brings us to the next verses. Clutch it like a cornerstone. Clutch it like a cornerstone. Otherwise it all comes down. Justify denials and grip 'em to the lonesome end. Clutch it like a cornerstone. Otherwise it all comes down. Terrified of being wrong. Ultimatum prison cell. So clutch it like a cornerstone. Cornerstone is the most important part of the foundation of a house. It's where everything rests on and everything becomes secure. And so you're gripping onto that because you're holding up your house and you're holding up your will and your sense of security, what brings you security and habitation. Um, Otherwise, it crumbles. It all comes down. So I mean, you don't want your house to fall, and you know Jesus actually talks about, having a foundation, and he sets up a foundation, and you can find that in, Matthew 5 through 7, um, and he gives that ultimatum, like, if you build your house on these principles, you're gonna be all right. If not, the wind's gonna blow you over, and you're gonna be destroyed. Um, so that I have a Christian background. I also like psychology, and I'm interested in, um, archetypal imagery and stuff like that. So it's all kind of playing together in this, I guess, for me. Um, Justify denials and grip them to the lonesome end. Um, when you have this stronghold, you know, you have every reason to deny why people should do what is outside of your will. Like, no, that's not a good idea, and you'll create. You're a creative human. Like, you're smart, and you're gonna find justification. But when that's wielded in a way that's domineering, it's no one's gonna want to be around you, and you're gonna be alone in the end. Clutch it like a cornerstone, otherwise it all comes down. Terrified of being wrong. Ultimatum prison cell. You're terrified of being wrong. Who wants to be wrong? Especially like if you have an idea for control, and you you don't want anyone to try anything else for the sake of your security, but also if it works, then your what you were clutching onto and holding onto dogmatically um, will be not the only way that things need to happen. And with that, you get a sense that I was wrong, and an embarrassment and a humiliation thing. So there's a good reason to be terrified of being wrong. Um, when you have so much on the line, but sometimes we put more on the line than we need to. An ultimatum prison cell, you're going to be trapped in your own rigid dogmatism and your own rigid idea of what needs to happen in order for everything to be okay. And it's going to lock you in, and there's going to be no liberty, no freedom, no grace, which Christ provides to us. By the way, I gotta throw Jesus in somewhere. Not that he should be the second, in my focus, but I think, with this song being almost like an exposition of the animating force that is symbolized by Saturn, and the attempt at exercising that spirit, like removing it and bringing better things. It's interesting. Saturn ascends. Choose 1 or 10. Hang on or be humbled again. Humbled again. Saturn ascends. Choose 1 or 10. Hang on or be humbled again. My voice really hurts because I was streaming this in the car. Um, Saturn ascends, so that dominating force comes up in you, um, in a physiological sense, like, and there's this anal retentiveness is another term they use in psychology. A lot of toddlers who are going through potty training will get it, but it's like you are learning control of your body, and so you project that out onto everything, and you want to control everything, uh, and so, like, holding in your poop makes you clutch onto everything in the world. There's the inner and the outer, the microcosm and the macrocosm, the the yeah. So um, Saturn ascends, that energy ascends. Choose 1 or 10, so it's like all or nothing. It's like extreme, or it's like whatever. I don't care. Like, it's like it needs to happen my way, or whatever. My hands are off of it. I'm not dealing with this. No, I'm done. Like, so it's like, you're it's all or nothing. Hang on or be humbled again. So that's the reason why we kind of try to grip onto it and hold it tight and not let go, is because we don't want to be humbled. We don't it's a pride and a dominance that doesn't want to be challenged or put in its place. And humility, um it's not humility is not being brought to below where your actual level is. It's like seeing things clearly for what they are, and seeing eye to eye to people. Now, when someone feels like they have a sense of hierarchy or dominance above, once they get dropped down to here, they feel like they've been down here, because now I'm not the ultimate, I'm not the pack leader, I'm not the top dog. So being here feels like, real low, in that humiliation and embarrassment that comes with that. Um, Humility is a very good thing, and it's an important thing, and it's if you come in with humility, you don't have to fall from this height. You go, oh, okay, yeah, and then you're just eye to eye, like, oh, I got you. All right, that's good. And there's this healthiness and humility. Clutch it like a cornerstone, otherwise it all comes down. We talked about earlier. Justify denials and grip them to the lonesome end, which we've talked about. Um, Holding on tightly, to your nose and your reasons. Um, Saturn, Saturn ascends, come round again. Saturn ascends, the 1, the 10, ignorant to the damage done. So I mean, ignorance could be, I'm willingly going to not pay attention to the damage I'm doing, um, or it can be like I don't even realize what damage I'm doing, um, and there certainly is damage being done, and it's good not to be ignorant to that. Nobody wants to be ignorant. Don't be ignorant to the damage that you're doing. Uh, Wear the grudge like a crown of negativity. Calculate what we will not tolerate. So calculating what we will. I don't know if I said this earlier, but it's like I have a plan and I have a way. I've taken everything into account according to my arrogant understanding of what everything is. Um, and I won't tolerate a difference here, and I will only tolerate this way, what I've calculated, my plan, my will, my will be done, my kingdom come. That's the opposite of what Jesus does. He has us surrender our will to God and trust. Unable to forgive the scarlet lettermen. Of course, I mean, that could be the very thing that brings up this whole animating spirit is not being able to forgive someone who's harmed you. Now you're trying to protect yourself and assert yourself and keep yourself in a place of power. That way you can control and manipulate the other. Or and that holding onto the power, that can have outwardly effects, and it certainly does. But most of the time, it's more or less just burning you, um, as you burn other people because you want other people to be burned like you. Um, Wear the grudge like a crown, desperate to control, unable to forgive, and sinking deeper. So like, you're coming more in, even physically, like we sink in, and like when we're ready for battle, like we tense up, we sink into it, and it's like you get into a place of potential for outburst, uh, and you sink down into that, and it's a very hellish place in us. Um, Defining, you're defining your limitations, you're defining your will, you're defining um, why you're right. Confining, um, you're taking it like, nope, we got to cut out all this stuff and leave it to my will. So this small thing in the expanse of all the potentials that could happen. Um, Sinking deeper, controlling, you're getting people to go where you want, doing what you want, getting the land to be how you want, doing it's the territory to be how you want, and defining, we went, that was the first, and we're sinking deeper, you know it just keeps on pulling you down, and it pulls everybody, we're sinking deeper. So it's like not only I'm sinking deeper, but everyone is sinking into this dissension and conflict. Saturn comes back around to show you everything, lets you choose what you will and will not see, and then drags you down like a stone, or lifts you up again, spits you out like a child, light and innocent. I always thought it said blind and innocent. Interesting. So Saturn comes back around. So that animating force comes back around again, and it's going to show you. I'll show you, and I'll prove my point. Lets you choose what you will and will not see, and then like, so like you personally can say like, "Oh, I refuse to see that," or "No, I see the problem. I see the, and we're going back to the crown of negativity. Like, I see the issue here, and I see, the detriment, and I see all that." Um, and sometimes we sacrifice our willingness to see, because I mean, you could have a beautiful garden, and if there's one deadly snake in it, what are you going to pay attention to? I'm not going to notice all the beautiful fruit. I'm going to notice the snake. And how is this snake going to get me to act? How is this snake going to get me to respond? Am I going to respond irrationally? Am I going to respond um, viciously? What's going to happen? Am I going to see how it, what it does and learn its ways, its predatory nature and stuff like that, and see what power I can get out of it or wisdom I could get out of it? Um, So lets you choose what you see and don't see. Drags you down like a stone or lifts you up again. Um, Spits you out like a child, blind and light and innocent. So so you get more tense and you get more planted, and you're not moving. You're heavy. You're a heavy presence, and you're um or it lifts you up again, like, you know calls you to action and dominance, and being in the hierarchy as the top dog, and like, um, spits you out like a child, light and innocent. So when I'm gonna chew you up and spit you out. That's what I think of. Um, and spitting you out like a child, that means that you're being consumed and you're being dominated and controlled. And light and innocent. Because I mean, if say a father has a dogmatic totalitarian control and a rage, that kid is going to be consumed by that, by fear, but also by a sense of awe and a sense of like, I'm going to be like that too. So you're being consumed by it, and it's becoming you're becoming part of that nature, um, and that essence, and you're not able to be free or apart from the will of the the dominating presence. Saturn comes back around, lifts you up like a Saturn comes back around, lifts you up like a child, or drags you down like a stone to consume you till you choose to let this go. So Saturn comes back around, lifts you up like a child, you know, or drags you down like a stone. He's going to ground you, or he's going to, you know, praise you, which would make the you as a kid like, I'm pleasing dad when I act like this, like when I hold his views. So now I'm going to do everything that dad wants, even if he's, tyrannical and controlling, um, to consume you till you choose to let this go. Give away the stone, let the waters, or let the oceans take and transmutate this cold and faded anchor. Give away the stone, let the waters kiss and transmutate these leaden grudges into gold. So you give away the stone, let the oceans take and transmutate. So the imagery of oceans, um, especially before we had National Geographic to have a better understanding. Oceans are total chaos. They will kill you, and they are to be feared and overwhelming. Um, and there's a whole lot of threats underneath that water that you can't see. And if they come up, they can consume you and destroy you. So Transmutate is like a change of essence, a change of nature. This cold and faded anchor. So like this, cold, rigid, unempathetic, like grounding in exactly what needs to be done. It's a rigid fundamentalism, a rigid, stabilizing force. Um, Give away the stone. Let the waters kiss and transmutate. So letting the waters kiss and transmutate, um, letting the a little bit of chaos in to be friendly with that that to be friendly, to be, married to be, you know combined with that rigid fundamentalism, um, allowing for grace for what is beyond us, um, to transmutate these leaden grudges into gold. So there needs to be a transformation of this energy that's consuming, 90% of your energy into something that's productive, and allowing for a little bit of chaos, a little bit of disorder, is it brings a liberty of that energy, that protective stronghold, that strong man within you, a liberating energy, so that that 90% energy can be funneled into, more things, to make more positive impacts here and there. And you feel lighter. You're not dragged down. Like when you're unforgiving and really, wanting that control, like, you don't have any energy to do anything else, and it will burn you up, and it will, um, drag you into the mud. It will make you dogged and tired after you waste all that energy into 5 minutes of totalitarian judgment and control. So, this is this lightens the stone too. The water. You ever try to lift something in the air that you try to lift in the water, and when you lift it in the water, it's a lot lighter? I think that's pretty cool. And then he has this big 25-second scream, which I might try it. There's no way. No, not happening. Sorry. I'm sorry, that had to even be part of it. But that's that's why this song is about constipation. So, uh, well, basically, Saturn, lets the kids, sends the kids to the porcelain pool. No, he he expels, them from after being consumed. They're all alive, in the mythology, and they do, good things. But, when you're anal retentive, you're not even pooping. You can't poop, like, because you're controlling everything, including unintentionally your bowels, in that, like, that can make you really got to poop. You're gonna get more tyrannical, and you're gonna get more controlling. So I like to think of that big scream as having a big old constipation poopy, and then let go, 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 let go. And it just says let go over and over again as a mantra to, like, release it. Let it go. Forgive. Allow. Adapt. See, see how things are, for what they really are. Let it go. Let go of the control. You'll be liberated to do so much more. You'll be free. That spirit of Saturn in you, release. You don't need the control. If I was in control of everything, if it was my will only, every man's way seems right to himself. I think I'm doing good, and I think my plan is great. Things would not be good. I would bring more chaos, and you know, I would refuse to see my delusions, and so the delusions in power, you know, like I would oppose, and I mean, you could see this in leaders like Stalin and Hitler, or like they'll just they'll destroy their enemy. They'll take up control. Like it's a really not a good thing. It's kind of like the spirit of Cain. You know, Cain from the Old Testament. He's the first murderer in the Bible, and murders his brother. Um, and you gotta let it go. You gotta release it. And that's what I try to do. If I'm being controlling and domineering and stuff like that. Release, forgive, give grace. Trust, trust that things are gonna be all right. That things are gonna work out. Trust other people when they have, a will. Reason it out, of course, when necessary, but be malleable and accepting, and I mean, Moses, God teaches Moses, us through Moses, like, he gives them this challenge, like, and he's expecting, obviously, God knows everything, but expecting God to challenge him, or Moses to challenge God. And so he says, you know what? I'm sick of these Israelites. Let's just destroy them. I'll start over fresh with you. I'll make you into a big nation. Like, and Moses was like, no, you promised to Abraham, and this is Abraham's descendants. He's going to be um, um, the father of nations. Like, you have a plan, and why would you lead them this far and then betray them and destroy them? Won't you get a bad reputation? Like, and I have a feeling God is saying, that's my boy, no, Moses. You got it. And so, like, he's demonstrating, like, the willingness to hear reason and to you know contend for what's righteous. And I don't think that was for God, and I don't think he necessarily, like, had a plan to actually destroy them, but he said that so that Moses would, like, get it, to, almost as a testing to Moses. I'm sure if Moses would have said, you know, yeah, let's do it, like, it would have been a whole different picture, and I'm sure God would be like, and I think he was meaning to have Abraham contest, like, hey, we don't do sacrifices. He commanded him to sacrifice his child, and and Abraham was like, oh, of course, like, he's kind of a pushover, and kind of like, but like, okay, you trust me, but also use your head. And so ended up, he went up there and was about ready to jam a knife into his son, and God stopped him, like, yo, nah, no, I'll send my own son, which he did 2,000 years later, um, to atone for the sin of the world. Anyway, that's a ramble off of, I mean, I can't help it. It spills out. Like, I hope you like it too. Like, I mean, I think we all can learn from the scriptures. Um, and which, speaking of consuming your child, like, that's, killing your child as a sacrifice. That's, as much consuming. And yeah, I don't know. It's a common thing. I think this is a good lesson. Anyway, yeah, let it go. Forgive. Rechannel that energy that you have pent up, that's just burning a hole in your chest, and let that fire warm warm those around you. There's a way of being, um, a leader, and having, assertiveness, that is warming and relieving and encouraging and emboldening to others. Totalitarian control, that's not it. That just burns you and it burns others. So learn to let go when necessary. All right, that's all I got. Go ahead and go listen to the song. It's really good. Um, enjoy. That's what I got. Thanks.